But we do want to have the genesis of this is that a conversation in and of itself is a unit of culture, and how people make the choices that they make is interesting. And you have a very interesting story that I told Fiona a little bit about. So, Ruganzu Howard, affectionately called Riggs, is our guest today. He is a commercial film director, as well as, let's just say, a film director. I'm sure he has lots of other interesting projects up his sleeve. But before we get into all that, your baby.
He exists. Yes, I have one.
He exists.
He does. He's very young. He's barely a human at all. But for somebody so small, he occupies the majority of my thoughts, my time, my finances, my emotional energy, my spiritual energy. It's like, he's really not producing anything, which I have this conversation with him all the time. I'm like, there's a lot there. You have a bounty of resources being poured into you, and I'm like not seeing anything from it. Like there's like a smile every now and then. There's no ROI at this point.
No. That's what I always think about. I'm like, what the hell do you talk to kids about? Like, I can't chat. What do you do with them?
No, it takes a while.
I talk to him in a very realistic way, almost like he's an adult, because I kind of find it undignified to speak. Like I've heard myself talking baby talk, and I'm like, oh no, we're not doing that. But no, he's great. I do have a child. He's amazing. I should have had children probably a long time ago, because then I'd have more.
So, my mom told me that you're like one of 13 kids or something, and you're like, we're a cop, and now you're a director. And like, what the fuck? Like, what is the deal?
Yeah, all of those are true. I don't know, the 13 kids is probably, I think it's like 11. So not to thread the needle, but my father was born in the 1920s, like before the Great Depression in the South, and they didn't have health care or Social Security, so they just had a lot of kids. And I was the last of that line. I think I was maybe an unintended surprise, but here I am. Yeah, I'm one of.
Yes, of all of them.
You should hope I am. I mean, I don't think nothing else was going on after me. I think
so do you have siblings that are 20 years older than you?
I have a sibling who's 40 years older than me.
No way.
Wow.
Yeah. From a previous marriage.
What's the spread with the same mother?
Almost 9.5 years. My sister is 9.5 years older than me.
What was that like?
It was like growing up in a house with no people in it, because the time I was a sentient, they were already going to high school and stuff. So I have siblings, but they're so much older than me. It was almost in a way, it was being an only child at times, especially when I was
they were aunts and uncles kind of.
Yeah, I mean, if your oldest brother is 16 years older than you, 16 or 17, that's by the time you can talk and shit, it's he was already married. Yeah, he was in the he had been to the military, married, all this shit. So it's a little weird.
And where were you raised by the time you were growing up?
By the time I was growing up, my father had kind of relocated and settled in the Pacific Northwest. He had lived all over. He lived in New York. He had lived in the East Coast for a very long time. And I still had family there for a long time, but he got a nice government job in the Pacific Northwest and was yeah, that place, it looks nice, it's livable. The KKK isn't around there. Probably. So I think he put down stakes.
Does he have stories from that in the South?
Oh yeah. He was born in the rural poverty in Vicksburg, Mississippi, in the 20s. So the town in Sinners. Have you seen this movie Sinners? You might have heard of it. It was weird for me because I went to go see that movie, and my father is alive during the events of that film, and he is living his life an hour and a half, almost 2 hours away, but in the same kind of region during the same time. So I've been down there and spent a lot of time down there when his siblings were alive. So it's a bit of a trip.
I haven't watched it, but what did you think about Sinners?
I think it was a great film. I mean, it got people to go see an original story in a theater. There were no like superheroes in it. There wasn't anything like really stupid or like, you know, it was just like good fun entertainment. I don't, you know, I think there's a lot of movies we don't want to see, but I was like, I'll go see that, and then I went and saw it, and I was like, this is pretty good. I really enjoyed it. It was definitely one of my favorites last year. Yeah.
I've been seeing a ton in the theater. I'm like, I go to a movie at least once a week in the theater.
That's great. I try to do that. It's really a good practice if you can sustain it, because people have gotten away from being like captured in a place and like committing to an idea and like not being on your device or talking to somebody and like engaging with film as an art form or even as just entertainment. It should be done more. I highly recommend it. I think it's great.
100.
You should do it all the time. You should go to Metrograph all the time. I would go to Metrograph probably like once a week when I was in.
I'm spoiled though. Those seats are hard. They are not. It's not comfortable. We had a little bit of a problem in the back because Fiona was so pixelated. I couldn't see her facial expressions.
I can barely see hers, to be honest with you. It's like iPhone 10 or something like that. It's like not good.
But being my kid, like if I could see her facial expressions, I know she's giving me like, can we, you know, like we're learning our way around this.
I think it's so hard to not interrupt each other on Zoom or on an online call. I just think it's like so unnatural. But
well, there's a bit of a delay that makes it like inherently more complex. Yeah. I get it. Yeah.
And when you interrupt, you can't like, because it's like hard to use body like if you're in a room and you're like, oh, I know what you mean, and then you kind of like your body, it's like.
Yeah, no, people can't look at from out of the corner of their eye and like see that you want to react or say something.
Yeah,
engage
dying. Like
you just kind of have to like awkwardly blurt the thing out and like cut somebody off and then like, you know, interject. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it's awful. And I'm
not a fan.
And I found out that I'm like I don't know, there's a whole thing about women in their 40s figuring out they have ADD when their children get diagnosed with ADD. And then it's like my whole life like made sense all of a sudden. Like the way that I blurt things out, the way that I interrupt, I get over, you know, I do all these things. It's completely an ADD thing because it's
people,
like
people just thought you were an asshole. Sometimes turns out you had ADD. Yeah, I have friends like that. Yeah.
I'm interrupting because I'm like psyched about what you're saying, and I want to connect with it.
Yeah. It's positive.
Like,
it's like a positive energy.
And if I don't do it now, I'll forget, and then it'll fly out of my, you know, and then I'll be on to the next,
Is that how it works? The idea is they just they leave you, they run away.
They're only there for 1 second.
They come and then they go, and then I'm like, oh, if I don't act on this idea right now or do something about it, I'm not going to remember. But I do sometimes remember. But
do you got like a pen or like a, you know, like a
I got a pen. I got
a
those
writing utensil? Like one of my director friends was like, hey, you know, when you have a good idea, you got to start carrying around a pen in a paper, and you just like write the thing down. And I was like, okay, I'm not carrying out a fucking pen and a paper, but it actually works. So
it actually works, and I actually have learned this with my job. Is I have a notebook that I call just my spare piece of paper, and I just write things on it all day. It's almost done, and it's like genuinely saved my life in my job. I think it's all about the analog.
I support it. You got to write shit down.
Yeah, and also like there is neuroscience behind it. Like your brain to your arm into your hand, it does a thing. My to-do list every day is written by hand every day because I can't.
If I didn't do that, I would forget the shit in like 2 seconds. It would be like shit not getting done list. That's all it would be. So
I asked Gabby, who works with me. I said, "We're going to talk to Riggs tonight. What should we ask?" And she said, "Ask Riggs who is the coolest person he knows."
that's a terrible question because now I have to commit to like I have this like cadre of cool friends. I have to pick one, like the one person, and then the other person. If they hear this shit, they're gonna be like, "He didn't pick me."
What if we said, "What if it's the coolest person you've met recently?" With that,
I haven't met any of those, unfortunately. Like, It's been a minute. That's the thing. It's like I'm like maxed out on my circle. I'm gonna have to like let some people go so I can like let some new ones in. It's like a very exclusive club. No, I can tell you who my coolest friend is. I'm gonna give two people who I think about often as being like my cool people. And sometimes they go up, sometimes they go down. Sometimes I'm like, do I need to reevaluate?
Maybe
Cool
let's define cool while we're at it.
I mean, I like people who adopt a stance, believe in what they believe, even if stupid or they are thought of to be foolish, who have unique personalities, who are not texting me about The Bachelorette, Frankie Taylor. If you didn't text me about Frankie Taylor, you might be cool. If you did, automatically disqualified. So I feel like the criteria, it changes, but I think it's like, who are the most original people that have contributed to my life in some way? Because at the end, it's all about me, right? I'm like deciding, I'm judging, so
Yeah.
they don't have to be good people necessarily. They don't have to dress a certain way, but it's just like who they are, what they've done, and how unique. And it's all very subjective, of course. Mm-hmm. So I think the two candidates that I think of often are our good friend Gina Pagano, who was really like integral to me opening up part of who I am and like kind of leading me to a specific path. I don't think this was part of her plan. I think that she was just like tripped and fell, and like I tripped over her, and like some shit happened. So I don't know that she's like a super genius, but she has like a remarkable talent to kind of like make you look at things that you maybe haven't quite looked at in the same way. Like I met her and she like asked me a question, and I was like, the question, I thought about it for like months.
What'd she
which
say?
like doesn't happen. We're not a mixed company or anything. It wasn't anything crazy. It was just like a suggestion about like what kind of person I was and like what type of things I could do. It was very much like, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? It was like a very, kind of more boring version of that. She's not like a spiritual guru. But, if you meet somebody and they like ask you like this kind of deep penetrating question, and then if you happen to already be having the kind of existential crisis that I was having, I was like, oh shit, is she psychic? I was like, no, she might have just had like a glass of wine and like felt saucy. But for whatever reason, she asked this very poignant question. So I think she's a very unique individual. She's given me a lot of incredible guidance over the years, professionally and as well as personally. She's been, around for some of my, a lot of my victories and, some of the bad times as well. So I think she's just a person that I'm like, oh, I want to know what she thinks about something. And she's just, she's like, I would consider her a cultural touchstone,
I love this. I agree. And I love your definition of cool. You adopt a stance and you're like, this is it. This is what I'm putting out. Like, this is my vibe. And she is really into it. Fiona worked for Gina. You know Gina.
Yeah.
Not cut, honey.
Sometimes Gina has ideas and thoughts and things, and I'm like, and then I try to like dissuade her, and then she's like not dissuaded. I'm like, how the fuck are you not dissuaded? Like what I just said, it was like basically gospel. You should be believing what I'm saying. Like it was like completely logical argument, and she's like just not buying it. So I'm like, okay, it's okay. Well, like you're fully committed for whatever reason. So she's one. The other one would be Meryl Meisler, who you may have heard of tangentially. She is a friend of Gina. Gina and I met her together. She's an incredible photographer and educator, but I think she's more notable in people in our space to photography. She's done a lot of like, I guess some of it could be street photography, portraiture. She was in the club scene, in the late 60s and 70s in New York. And she just has this tremendous catalog of work that only somebody like her, this very like demure, petite, small woman, would be able to like get in these different circles and groups and take these photos. And she has amazing stories. And she is just, it's it's not every day you get to connect with somebody or know somebody that is connected to all this amazing history and has created a massive body of work, an amazing visual record, and incredible art. So if you don't know who Meryl is, she has like a couple of really great books she's published. Somebody should make a documentary about her because she's a quintessential New York story and spirit. She's an amazing person. And she made me want to get into, to kind of like retake up photography. And I'm sure that contributed to my current vocation as well.
So about your current vocation, circling back, what made you get into that after being a cop?
I direct now, but I worked for, the advertising agencies, like some independent, some holding company places. I think it's definitely not a straight line.
Yeah.
I like to take straight lines if I see them, but I usually don't, so I end up doing all this. So I guess the long and short of it is I was a police officer for like 10, 11 years. I was a criminal, I was an investigator, I was a detective for the Baltimore City Police Department. I was like a hostage negotiator. My final job was I was one of the spokespersons for the police department, which is just like,
wow,
kind of getting in front of your local CBS, ABC affiliate or the Baltimore Sun or whoever the person is, and giving them a kind of sanitized, edited, civil liability-free version of police events. So, it's messaging, it's brand protectionism, it's like all that kind of stuff. It's there's a slickness to it. And I did that stuff for so long, it felt like 1,000 years. And I was like, do I want to do this for one more 1,000 years? Like, I don't think so. I just felt like it was, I had kind of seen everything, done everything, somehow managed to survive a lot of things that maybe other people wouldn't. So I was like, yeah, I think if I have a next chapter, I should try finding it now. And like, it's funny, I had a lot of like voices that I respected at the time who were like, hey, do you want to do this forever? Because I feel like you might want to do some other stuff. Because like if you're looking around, like I was in a car with my boss, who was a detective sergeant at the time, and he was just like, if you want to do this for another like 15 years, like cool, I think you're good, you're great. But if you want to do anything else, you should consider finding out what that is.
Yeah.
And I eventually did. So
You were a West Coast guy. I got to jump in. You're a West Coast guy. How did you end up in Baltimore?
I don't consider myself a West Coast guy. I had family in the East Coast and the South, and I had gone out there plenty of times. And I was like, whatever this is, I think I'm that. Like, I don't smile at people that I don't know unless I want something from them. At a store, I don't like walk by people and just inherently smile at them on the trail. I'm not going for walks with my golden retriever or chocolate lab or any of that type of shit. So I was like, I'm an East Coast person. Like, I am direct to the point. I'm kind of like logical. I like art and culture, which is like, I guess, sounds like a bit of a shade to the West Coast, which I guess it is. So fine. So I like this fantasy idea of like, I'm going to walk outside today and end up at the Guggenheim, and then I'm going to go have pizza, and then I'm going to have a martini, and then I'm going to, I like that shit. And it's like, you can't do that in Seattle, Washington, or Los Angeles, California. It's like, that shit, you can't do that shit.
I also have a little bit of an allergy, so I get it.
Fiona went
I do too.
Here in California and almost lost her mind.
I literally thought I was going crazy. It was a culture shock to me. It was a culture shock because I'm from New York, and it's like, it's still America. So you're like, oh, it can't be that different. But I was like, what the hell is going on? I genuinely had no idea what was going on. I had to leave.
If you can embrace it and adopt it, like, great.
Then
but
great,
like,
yeah.
It's just not for me. I like people who look at me like they don't like me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I like out here people
100%.
are like smiling and grinning and shit, and I'm like, what
This
could you
weird.
possibly want? Like, I don't even know you. Yeah. I'm a 6'5" black person. Like, are you like, why are you smiling at me? I'm not Chioki Nasor or like whoever you think I am. It's just it's just a weird culture to me. So I decided very young that I was like an East Coast person, and I basically like fled for the East Coast in my like 20s and like never returned.
Right. Hostage negotiator. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, whoa.
That's
So,
wild.
some people have said that I have, some kind of like sociopathic tendencies, which I don't think I do. I've been poked and prodded by every psychiatrist in the Mid-Atlantic. I think I'm good,
Are
but
these
what I
they are? I bet you.
some of the like most of them, yes. So.
It's like ex-boyfriends or girlfriends. That's when the big diagnosis words come out.
Yes,
Soci-
I've recent ones have been you're definitely ADHD, you definitely are autistic, and I'm like
on the spectrum.
I have yes, those keep coming at me, and I've been to many psychiatrists, and I'm sorry to tell everybody I have no excuse for the behavior that I exhibit. It's all me. So that's just how it is. But so I have this. It's not a superpower, but like I kind of don't get scared about anything, and like I don't get stressed, and I don't really show visible cracks until like it's really, 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 really bad. So if you're in the police department, if you're a detective, and some lieutenant sees that you're managing some crime scene or something, and you are casually, eating an apple, something like that, just chilling, they'll notice that you kind of don't react to stress, and they'll kind of like scoop you up. So that's how I got into hostage negotiation. And I had to go trained by the FBI's training people and all that stuff. And it's not really as sexy in the movies. You're mostly talking to very desperate people who are in need of various levels of psychiatric care most of the time. Every now and then there was some crazy spree killer type of thing, but that's like one hand I could count those.
Do you feel like now that like because you had that experience, like you could sniff people out and like you like have used it in like your other professions or like in your personal life?
Yeah, I mean that's like kind of how I knew I wanted to become an investigator right away. Like I have an inherently built-in lie detector. I have my psychological defenses are really it would put like the Defense Department budget to shame. It's just like complete overkill. It's just I can pick people out. I can tell who's the weaker one who can be manipulated. It's just like part of it's like an occupational skill.
Yeah. So it came before, and so it's like always been there.
I've had it before, but it didn't really get honed and refined into like usable tool that could be applied to professional work until I had many, many, many opportunities to interview, arrest, interrogate people. So that's when you get good at it, when people can't leave the room.
Yeah.
They have no choice but to talk to you. That helps.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, that stuff comes in handy, but we work in a kind of unserious kind of like the tone is typically benevolent in our line of work. So
Do you feel like you're like working in a candy store with this commercial madness, as opposed to like these life and death and these really sick people and people that are really,
I mean, it's obviously like a different world, right? It's like a completely different thing. I cannot I haven't been really mad in a decade. I haven't, that's not true. I've probably been mad in the last 5 or 6 years. But it's impossible because we have the great fortune.
We lost Geico like 3 times in a row.
That damn near killed me. That said, I almost went into a deep depression. But other than that, other than like losing dream jobs, when you have like really good creative, we have the great fortune to work in this business where, nobody's splitting the atom, even if you're winning at Cannes. But whatever you're doing, it's like it's not, the stakes aren't that high. It's a great privilege and fortune to be able to work in advertising, and thusly it's not to be taken that seriously. Like I'm trying to sell widgets or, yes, I'm trying to sell like a corn-based snack products. It's like, great if you like it and you buy it and we made you laugh. that's amazing. And that's not to take away from the seriousness of, the brand's needs and stuff like that. But, it's not the same thing as negotiating with a spree killer in the middle of the night. No, it's not. And sometimes it can feel like it, depending on the agency. But I'd say overall, it's much lighter. So I enjoy the contrast, the levity in the profession, but it's not the same thing. But I like.
Have you ever had a moment where I feel like I've gotten a bit of a taste of the industry you guys work in, but someone didn't know that you used to have this career, and then they find out and they're kind of like, what the hell? Or like, I don't know, I feel like we live in like liberal New York and like people are like ACAB and like have people been like, whoa.
That hasn't happened in a while. That's happened once or twice. So, you meet me, I don't sound like a police officer. I don't sound like a detective. I mean, I'm not anymore. I dress differently. I look differently. I'm happier-ish, I don't have the same like stuff going on upstairs, fortunately.
Right.
So you would you would never know. And I think it's a lot for people to wrap their heads around, because you think of that world and those characters, and like you think they look a certain way and act a certain way, and you never think of what they do after or if they ever do anything else. So it's a lot. I'm also not telling anybody to get against the wall or put their hands behind their back, or like writing down things that they're saying about where they were last night on a notepad. So it's like,
right.
how would they know? It is a bit. It's a lot to grapple with, right? It doesn't make sense to some people. They can't look at me and talk to me and then really understand what I used to do. Like it doesn't happen.
I also I don't know. I'm just going to be slightly controversial. I whole there are what is it? All cops are bad. Is that
all cops are bastards?
Are bastards. Oh, lovely. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like that's I think that's outrageous. Do you know what I mean? Like I went to high school with guys and they were became cops. They weren't whatever. They wanted to do their 20, 30 years and get their pension and live in their neighborhood and whatever. And these are not sometimes cops do bad, but I think that's ridiculous. I do.
I think that opinion is probably the most commonly shared one. I think there might be popular movements to resist. There's definitely been instances in the zeitgeist and historically instances of the state or government or law enforcement overusing their power or writing roughshod over people's rights. It's obviously a thing that happened. Now, if you think that's all of them that are doing it, you're probably not living in reality. It's just not how it works.
I do think if people go into law enforcement or FBI or whatever, FBI, a lot of people just have a thing of I do want to be a good guy. I do want to catch criminals. I do want to help uphold the law. It's not I don't know.
Or at the very least, not violate people's constitutional rights, not break the law, not do anything. Generally, that was the consensus amongst me and my individual little group of my pod of coworkers. I was too busy trying to figure out who shot who to be okay, well,
fair.
I have to go do this completely unethical thing. That shit happens. It's a government institution. It's like everything else, but I don't think that's not a crazy opinion. The crazy thing is that people think that is the one most people hold, and it's just not. So
it's a stereotype.
Yeah, it's been popularized the last few years, but it's for some reason Law and Order SVU is still on the fucking air. So somebody likes these motherfuckers. I don't think somebody finds it entertaining.
Yeah.
So your career pivot is just really, I think, really cool because I had a very non-linear career path as well. I remember in the 90s, I was acting and I was struggling with all kinds of things, but people were like, if you can think of anything you'd rather do, go do that. Because unless you want to be in Western Massachusetts doing summer theater when you're 50, 60 years old, you really should go do something else. And I was like, I would love to do something else. I don't know what that might be. Being a commercial sales rep for director. So whatever. This job kind of materialized as an answer to being kind of an artistic person, a film lover, and a socially very intuitive kind of person. And poof, I got kind of put in the right place in the right time in the year 2000. And I feel like that happened for you. Can you just, how did you meet Gina?
I met Gina. So I have, oddly enough, I have a number of friends that I knew when we were younger, and some of them went on to go into advertising. I didn't really know what advertising was. Like one or two of them went into advertising, and I happened to be at a birthday party for one of them, and that's where I met Gina. And I didn't really have knowledge of the advertising world. Like my girlfriend at the time was just like had some mutual friends. Me and her had some mutual friends that were like in advertising. And so that's where I met Gina. We just became friends, and like that eventually helped get me some exposure just by hanging out with her to what corporate advertising, like the structures were. And I was like, oh, this is kind of like some of the structures and systems that I've dealt with. Paramilitary in nature, like loose, political. Like there's a lot of those same things because it's just a human institution, right? So that's how I kind of like got eyes on advertising. It wasn't until like a year or two later that I was kind of like, oh, I'm going to take a break from policing stuff. It's just kind of like ruining aspects of my life. It kind of like starts to cook you or turn you into like hardwire you into a certain mindset. And I kind of felt my elasticity, my ability to think outside of my current vocation. I felt it waning, right? I was like, oh, I can't, if it's not about like firearms and like ballistics or, some statute I need to be aware of, or some like interrogation technique that I should be mindful of or, shy away from, I don't really think about it or know about it. And that kind of becomes like all your world is. And, the world, we all know it's much bigger than whatever's right in front of us. So I kind of took a break from the police department. I took like a leave of absence, and I kind of, started working in advertising for a little while, and I got a taste of it. And then I went back to the police department, and I was like, I think I'm going to go make ads. So bye. And they were like, please don't leave, come back. You're a spokesperson. You're a black guy. Like, we need black spokespeople. Like, they're great. We love them. And I was like, I'll think about it, but I'll probably not be returning. And, so I went to go work, in advertising. I think it was the first place I worked. I worked at an editorial, which Gina was running at the time. And then I was like, I'm not going to be an editor. Like people have to like stand behind me and tell me like my cut is like not good. I was like, what the fuck do they know about cutting anything?
And you have to sit there all day. You just sit.
Yes, and I was a cop, and I don't know if you know about cop stuff, but they really don't like people standing behind them. It's like I could not. It was psychologically painful to have 5 creative directors sitting behind me. I was like, this is insane. As an assistant or like, helping her produce stuff. So yeah, then I went to go work for agencies. I've worked at a bunch of them.
And that's when I met Riggs.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a nice, there's like a theory about people my age that like because you have access to everything, people expect your resume to be stacked because it's like, oh, you have the internet, you have whatever, like why didn't you make a movie this summer? Like why didn't you do this? And so it's nice to hear that like you were a cop for 10 years and now you're a completely different thing. My mom was a waitress for like 10 years, completely different thing. Like I could like do some random shit for 10 years and like still be a completely different person. And like I feel like that's like yes, but like people my age like really don't understand that, I don't think. Especially my school has this thing called co-op. So like everyone works for 6 months twice during their year. So people are very business oriented, and it's like if you didn't get the co-op at Goldman Sachs, you're done for, your life is over. And like really everyone does believe that. Like it's such an intense thing. So I feel like this narrative of you can do whatever the fuck is so needed.
I mean, I would probably jump off a bridge if I didn't get the co-op at Goldman Sachs. If Goldman Sachs, if you're listening, if you hire me, I'll show up. I'll work for free. I'll come do whatever is needed. No, it's like I was very fortunate, right? Like I had a father who had done a number of things in his life. He like lived in the ancient times where, dinosaurs roamed the earth, so you could kind of like do whatever you wanted, you know?
Yeah.
And both he and my mother very much imbued that in me. They were like, you can do whatever you want. Idiots like tell their children that. And the kid's like, oh, I can be an astronaut. And, but when my mother and father told me that, like, I believed it. So I was like, okay, well, what if I want to do this thing? And what if I want to do that thing? So, like, that's kind of how I've wandered through life. It's like, I just kind of, like, go in the directions that appeal to me and somehow end up having a job. Like, I'm a director now. 10 years ago, if you were like, you'll be a director, I would be like, what is a director? Like, how do they even, like, I don't know how any of that stuff works. If you told me, I have a lot of sides to me. I have like a creative side that I was like never able to use in policing, right? So I was like, I have a very cold, logical side, which I was able to use in policing. Like now I don't really use it anymore. It's just like you can do more than one thing. And I found a lot of people like me along the way that did more than one thing. And I would always like ask them like, well, how did you do this? Or like, so it's not surprising. Like if you want to be one person, great, that's totally fine. You can be one person and it's no shade if like you know who you are when you come out of that Goldman Sachs internship and like you work at Goldman Sachs and you never you never leave Wall Street. Great, fantastic. But if you want to explore other corners of the world and other corners of like humanity and who you are, there's like all kinds of shit, all kinds of stories, all kinds of vacations you can have. And people hired me to do all this different shit, and I'm not even that smart. So they like, if you get the Goldman Sachs thing, like they probably hire you to do whatever the fuck you want, right? It's like it's like you just have to want to be able to do it and willing to give up whatever you're doing to like pursue that thing, which a lot of people are not always willing to do that. You can do different shit. I think this is like it for me though. Like I'm not like, well, what if I wanted to become, like a stonemason? Like, I'm not going to do that. That's like getting too fucking old. My back hurts. I have a kid now.
Well, now that you're doing this, do you have a favorite moment of when you were on set directing or, that was, wow, this is really challenging and I did it. Like, I met the challenge and it felt like...
Well, you've seen my reel. That's like every job for the first 2 years. I was like, oh shit, I did that. I made it through, and I'm like alive, and nobody, I didn't get fired or anything. I think recently I've had, I'm still I consider myself to be very nascent in my career, and there's still so much that I haven't done and want to do. But I think recently I've had, in the last year or so, I've had a few experiences where I have like my people now, right? I have like my amazing script supervisor, Edie, who everybody in the business knows. I have like the cinematographer that I want. I have like my production guy that I stole from this elite director. I have all of my people who I've worked with, established relationships with, and the synergy starts to kick in when they know who you are, they know what you want, they know how you work, and they all want to truly collaborate in this process with you. And I think it sounds corny, but it's pretty powerful and magical because you feel supported by people who are incredible at their job and have so much amazing experience and talent and passion for their profession, and they're working with you for you to get your thing done. It's like, what is better than that? The only thing better than that is having a baby, I guess. I don't know. So I think that's kind of, those are some of the rewards that I've been feeling from my time in the profession. It's great. And then the work comes out and it's good enough and it's on TV and like the paycheck shows up and that's great. But like the real reward was the friends we made along the way, right? It's like it's very real.
It's about the community.
Yeah,
I was like at the DGA sometime like a while ago, and I was there to I don't know. I think I was there to see like one battle or something like that. And I was like with Matt Swanson, and I like look over, and it was like Rick Darge, and then I looked behind me, and it was like Mike Warzin, and I was like, I get to go in this movie theater and just like hang out with like Matt Swanson and Mike Warzin and like it's pretty great. So I really love what I do. It's in it and the people who are in it.
They're both great guys, and I'm so happy for Swanee's girlfriend. She's directing, right?
Yeah. Sophia. She's been acting for quite a while, and I think she's got a feature that's coming out.
Awesome.
So that's pretty dope. That's I'm right behind her. My feature will be coming out in 2050. What? It's trying to get some funding together. It's a thing, but
work in progress.
It's a good place to wrap, because one of the pillars of what keeps coming up over and over and over, and one of the is community. And every single person we talk to, there's some aspect of community, it's essential to being successful as a person, in a profession, in a family, in a whatever. It's really big.
Yeah, I'd love to pretend that all my successes are my own, and that my rise to the zenith of being an elite criminal investigator was all me, and then I was like a badass advertising guy, and then that was all me, and then I like decided to make myself this phenomenal director of commercials, and that was all me. But none of those things were all me. I just happened to be there, and people decided to support me or to foster my talents and help my skills grow. It's all like fully dependent on other people. I am badass. I am the shit though. Like that helps, but it only takes you so far. You need other people to help you for sure.
Yeah, Elizabeth Gilbert, her latest book was sort of a lot for me, but I like her. She gave a TED talk about creativity, and she said that ideas come. They're agnostic. They come and visit. And so opportunities. Maybe I'll move to New York and work in advertising, or maybe I'll be or maybe I'll do. They visit, and then you either are available to hear them, and then have enough courage to take a step in the direction of those ideas, or you don't, and then they visit somebody else. And it's true. The ideas will keep coming. It's just if I'm open to them, but it's when the courage and everything lines up, and then I move on the idea.
I'm ready to receive high value, very expensive, costly ideas, Goldman Sachs ideas.
We got
all of that stuff. Come on in. I'm ready.
So here's our last question quickly, which is, if you were to give advice to your 20-year-old self, what might that be? It can be a one-liner. It doesn't have to be deep. It can just be.
I would hand him a piece of paper with the ticker symbols for like the S&P 500 and be like, hey, this thing called Bitcoin, don't fucking lose them. Put them in a safe deposit box. I would do all that. I would upset the timeline. No, I think to be honest, it sounds crazy, but I would tell him to do what he thought was the right thing for him to do. That's not like the good thing, the thing that he was drawn to the most. To listen to himself, and if he was drawn to a profession, if he was drawn to a skill, if he was drawn to any of those things, if they resonated with him in any way, that I would encourage him to pursue them. Because I think when I was younger, I came from a very practical family. Like my father was an educator, my mother was an educator. They, black people in America they didn't have like tons of money or come from like these robust creative backgrounds, and they often, the like working class or middle class people will often subjugate a lot of their like creative intent and like ability and like magic to go live, to exist, to get to get a job and like be able to like make it every day. And I found myself doing that when I was younger, and I was like, I'm going to do something incredibly practical and of service and like interesting to me. That was great, but I ended up giving up a lot of things, like my passion for photography or my passion for anything creative. I kind of set that stuff down for probably too long, and I eventually found my way back to it, and that's why I'm here. But I just feel like I didn't need to set them down entirely. So I would say, like, if there's anything that speaks to you, that resonates with you, be it ideas, be it faith, be it whatever it is in the human gamut.
I like that idea. It's like, don't override it. Like, listen to the thing, because there's such a voice of, yeah, but that's stupid. Yeah, but people will laugh.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't have that education, or you don't have that whatever.
I'm an idiot. I have virtually no education, but they let me solve cases, be a hostage negotiator, be an executive producer, and now they let me direct commercials, and I'm dumb. So, like, if you have a passion for it, sometimes that and persistence is all that you need.
It is legit, like that thing of showing up. Just show up. Show up.
A lot of people don't.
This was so fun. I'm so honored that you got to be on our podcast. And guess who?
Thank you so much.
And guess who's a huge fan of our podcast? Gina Pagano.
Oh, that's good. That makes sense. She'll like this then.
She'll like this one.
Yeah, she's like
a tear will come out. A tear will come out. That's good.
I like this whole thing that's going on.
That's you've been around her a lot, you know.
What is this whole thing? Yeah.
Yep.
I was like,
well, thank you guys so much.
I felt like a witch was like giving me like a good omen or something.
Yeah, she's one of those. She's a good witch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, thank you both.
Well,
honestly,
thank you.
Great talking to you. I hope this one's a hit. Okay, bye.
Bye.